I'm Martin Windsor, and this is the second video this morning. I'm just showing this because I ran in a campaign. Hope I don't. That's a statue, by the way, Facebook. In case I get knocked off for having a nude picture up here or something. It's a statue that was out in the backyard, I think, or around the pool. Anyway, of his place out there, I'm not sure. Anyway, this I'm telling about, and this is video 2. I'm telling about having an autoimmune disorder, and I'm allergic to toxic fumes, and that may sound like, hey, well, so what? Everybody has well, I've been forced to inhale it everywhere I have lived since I came here, just about, with the exception when I did a few live-ins. Now, my only answer for that they weren't used is because it would make the person I was living with sick, so they didn't cause me to put it in there for me to inhale at those times. Anyway, over time, that can kill you. Inflammation, even the medicine you take for it can bother you. Well, not just bother your kidneys, no. Now, and lungs. Plus the way it makes you feel. I get so sick, it's given me vertigo over the years. I've lost most of my hearing right now, and I can keep on. I don't know what else is wrong. I'm 79 years old, and that's tough. Here's back to Ron Sizer. This guy from the homeless assistance approached me. I hadn't seen him in years, and he had this address. And by the way, I just picked it up and saw it in the paper, so I was already aware it was available or for rent. I didn't have the money, so he contacted me. You'd think he's doing me a favor. So he comes out and takes me out here. And it's a beautiful home, 2-story old. It's built on beautiful, surrounding. You think he lives so far out in the country. He's got this little cottage with a magnolia tree in front of it. And it's got a little it's got a huge backyard. It's also got a barn back there, where later, I'm going to skip to this real quick. When I left there, my electricity, it was a mess what was going on there. The gas, when I tried to turn it on, I'd get so sick, I passed out. I thought it was winter time, by the way. So I'm going to skip. You can guess what was going on. Anyway, I went out there, and he was supposed to lease it for a year. Went back to pay the signed the lease and everything. He changed it to 1 month, the deposit. Okay, I'm hurrying trying to get it on this. Anyway, this guy was with me, taking me out there, that worked at the homeless, well, it's not the homeless shelter, but it's homeless assistance. So he helped me with the deposit, and I ended up paying him half back. Or did I even get it back? I paid him half back, and I don't know what happened to the other half. Sizer might have kept it. Anyway, his name's Sizer, and I found out later his brother is an attorney. Okay, I sign it, and I don't have any furniture or anything but my backpack and sleeping bag, and So it makes it sound like, well, he's doing me a favor. This is supposed to be rented unfurnished. So he hauls a bed up there, so I have that. He and this other fella. And, well, it does have some furniture in it. So you could say, well, you should be glad, lady. Well, it's later what he tried to say. It also came accompanied, the few things he left there, down where he had the basement, where he had the washer and dryer, and it's those sunk tanks, or whatever you call that, I've forgotten, but it's where you could see the water running around. I can't describe it unless somebody knows what I'm talking about. But anyway, we're on well water, and I'm going to leave out a lot of it. I just want to get this in. You can't get it in. He had this huge machine. I don't know what you did with it. It was iron. I thought, God, how did he get it through the door? Well, now he's telling me that it's unfurnished. So about a month I guess after I was there, and it's wintertime now, he and another guy were trying to get it out, and it was heavy, believe me. It was kind of like had petroleum or some kind of machine that, anyway, they got it out. But they left a lot of other stuff down there that I had no need for. I didn't complain. I was so glad to get a place. Now then, here's what he did. He left stuff in the kind of closet there. And it was when I'm saying the pieces were missing of a so-called, I don't know if you call it a sweeper. He had some old linen stacked in there and a few other things that you couldn't use. In fact, he was using me for storage, to tell you the truth. And I wanted to get this in, just if I'm scattering it, I guess, but I wanted to get it in. I found out just before I left because I was concerned about my electric bill. And it just dawned on me, something he had said when I moved in. He said, be careful to watch your electricity, because he had big lights out there, and I understand around his house and at mine that I was renting, and I understand because he had two Jags in his, it was an old shed, but it was well kept. And I saw them one day, and they looked like brand new Jags. They were 1973, so they were worth a good bit then. Anyway, my point is, he said something about that, and for some reason, it started bothering me why his wife and daughter would go out in the barn behind my place where they had two peacocks. They had couple of pigs, I think, and I said chickens, didn't I? And my understanding from somebody else, they had a goat and some more things in the barn. Why on earth did they go out there in the dark every day that I was there and usually turn on their lights for it took them at least an hour, if not more, to feed the animals. Now then, they would do that at night, and they'd wait till dark and turn on those lights. And I was told they had a heater in there to keep them warm. Now then, I thought, they're out there now. I'm going to flip off the switches in here and see if it turns off this. Well, indeed it did. So they were hooked up to my electricity. Now, I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that went on there. But just before I left, I'd had enough, because he actually would come in when I was gone, had a key. He could just laugh in my face. In fact, I wasn't even in conversation with anything that had ever happened to me. He said to me, he says, what I'm doing here, you will never be able to sue me because of, in other words, he was saying I wouldn't be able to sue him till he's probably dead and gone, and if you wait too long to sue, well, you can't. So that's what he was saying. So he probably thought, and I haven't been able to sue anybody, and he's dead the last couple of years, I understand. Now, here's what he sent me, and I'm going to tell you this now. I got out simply because it looked legit to me. Yeah, he didn't have reason to do it, but then nobody's had reason. The horrific laws committed against me and my sons here in this country are so, I can't, there's no word for it, and I can't get anybody to do anything about it. So what do you think I'm going to do about this anymore and anything else but run back up to the mountain where they'll run me? Okay, here is the... he gave me a notice of, in other words, I'm getting evicted. Now then, his people are going to get highly upset. These people have broke the law when I put this up here because I can't get an attorney. In other words, he's, your deposit of $400 may be applied, if et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Any personal property that you leave on the premises will be deemed abandoned and taken to the Botetourt County landfill. Now, I want to tell you this. I found out just not too long before I left, there was a rope up in the ceiling there, and I'm sick all the time there. And I know part of what's doing it, and I can't do anything about it, because they're doing the same thing there. He is getting a joke out of it. By the way, he stole a prepaid phone thing that I'd never used, which cost me money, but he'd just come in and do as he pleased. And He oh, the rope. I pulled the rope down, got a chair and pulled the rope down. Lo and behold, it was stairs leading into the attic. And the attic was low, but I couldn't quite reach the rope, and I'd never thought to pull it down. I pulled it down and climbed up it, and that whole place, all over the attic, all over, was his mom's things. I think that yeah, I know it was that he put up there, and she had died 7 years before I came there, and everything was mold, mildew, the sofa chairs, everything up there. The fan was out, and evidently it rained in up there. And they had a fan blowing stuff out, supposed to blow things out. So this had mildew and mold, and that's just a section of what was causing me to get so sick. And here, I want you to hear how he's blamed me when I did nothing any more than this, other than try to live and pay the rent on the money that I'm allowed to get. And remember, when I was born, if not the wealthiest, one of the most wealthiest. I was brought over here, and my life put in a living hell, and things done to me and my children that are so inhuman and so sick. And the fact that it's been done in plain sight, and somebody will tell you this is land of the free and home of the brave, and all this, well, I don't know how much bravery it took to do all this to me and to my tiny babies, okay? Just because of who we are. Now, so this doesn't go off, I want to show you just a part of this to show you what I've had to deal with. And this is just a portion. Okay, now he's saying, remember I told you it's supposed to be unfurnished. Well, I didn't say anything about them, so, and they came and moved the big machine out of the downstairs basement. And I didn't know about the stuff up in the attic, and the closet had a bunch of garbage in it, to be honest. But tell you, this is the way, if you don't hear my side of it and you just see this, somebody said, well, I wouldn't rent to that woman. My God. By the way, it was left spick and span, okay? Here is... Now, remember, when I put these up, I suffer consequences, but it's going on anyway, so I put it up, and maybe God will descend one day and get me out of it, or tell people to stop it that he doesn't quite agree with it. I don't know. You left the rental April the 3rd, 2009. Rent per day is $20, and you owe $60. Well, that was a friggin' lie. I'm going to show you here. When I got my check, I paid him, and that was always on time. And to charge, God, if it was a Sunday, I might not have paid it. He's going to charge me $20 for a Sunday. Anyway, this is where I paid it. You can see enough to see that I paid my rent and all that. Okay, now I'm going to get down to it. So I paid it, and here's what he's got: total lies. And by the way, I want to get to this in case this runs out. He put that eviction notice up there, total lies. And later, after I'd moved out, I called Bottock County and got in touch with the person, and she told me, she said, you didn't have a legal eviction. She says, he just made it up himself and put it on your door. And I said, well, when I left that day, it looked legal to me. I said, when I left that day, there were 2 police cars outside. I said, what am I supposed to think? Well, it's just, well, I don't know, so tough, said the kitty. That's what somebody I used to know would say. I left out one, so I didn't want to be accused of cursing or something. Heaven forbid. Okay, here's the way he put it, and let me get it in here. After I'd started putting this up on Facebook, and I've put this up before a long time ago, I went to my post office box, and somebody came in that was trying to tell me what was going on. He came in with his voice loud, and of course I was about the one outside. I was in the lobby of the post office. He said, you should go up on Valley. Well, he's talking about this man's house, Valley well, I've forgotten, I'd have to look, road. He said they're taking stuff out of that attic, and he named it Sizers, and he said they're taking it to the landfill. Suddenly, when I put this up on Facebook, and I guess I put it up on YouTube then, suddenly they start cleaning it out, and here he's got me, the one that he's having to go to the landfill for, which is a lie. In other words, he used me to stash his stuff, and his mother's stuff that was in the attic. I mean, it was fill, and it was mold and mildew. So what I just want to tell you, other than the chemicals that he put in there. You left the rental April the 3rd. You owe $20, and now you owe $60. I had to make, well, let me say this. I had to make 2 trips to the landfill to dispose of a soil mattress. This is all lies he made up in Box Springs, and 7 large. No, there was no trash bags. And you left on the porch. The total cost is $19. As I was washing the kitchen floor, there was a gash in the linoleum floor down to the plywood. I expect this came about when the bed was moved from the bedroom to the rear entrance. Well, he did that when he brought the bed up and offered it to me. So if there was a gash in it that I had never seen, he put it in there. So I could go on down. He has a man he thinks that can repair it, and he's only going to charge me $75. Listen to this. The vacuum cleaner's missing. It was old thing. It wasn't even a vacuum cleaner. It must cost him $19, and he's using me for storage. And here he's got the vacuum cleaner's missing a part, and without it, it will not work. I purchased an inexpensive for $69. So I can go on here. He's got me owing, and they're all lies. He just made up. But he's gotten away with it just like everybody else. The stove was which is a mess. I didn't even have money to buy anything and cook very much. And here he's going to charge me $88 to stove cleanup. By the way, I cleaned everything up before I left. I noticed the toilet water was cut off. Well, he had a problem with it, that he'd come try to fix the water go off, and you couldn't flush the toilet and something else. So this is him. He said it needed a piece of valve. I didn't do that. The 2 clear and air deflectors that attached to the heat and cooling grills were in I don't know what he's talking about. Replacement, $8. After you had the current cut off, I realized that the rental unit was connected to the barn. Oh, he didn't. I brought it to his attention and started putting it up on Facebook and YouTube. I called Appalachian Power, and they gave me the cost of using a 111. Well, that wasn't it. He also had it hooked up to these great big bulbs where his 2 Jags were. And no, I realize now I was on all of it, not just the barn. So this is a blatant lie he's done, just like everybody else. Total cost for 4 months is $3. To me, he's saying this is all it cost me. $3.92. This is a deduct to your damages. That I didn't damage anything. He's the one who did it. He used me for storage. This week I had a certified heating and air conditioning man inspect the ducts, and he found no dust, dirt, or foreign matter in the ducts, and I have this letter stating this. His bill was $89. I'm gone. What's he? Peggy, remember you told me you left Richfield because of the putty in the window. Well, that's not true either. I left there for the same reason. They ran me too. And I was sick. I managed to stay there. And I ended up going to the